Yo, what is going on, guys? I got a very special video today. We're going to be talking about Professor X. He is confirmed to be coming to the contest, but he will be accompanied by the one and only first ever mutant Apocalypse. So, if you guys would like to know about this dude's abilities first, stick around. If you would like to know about Apocalypse's abilities, a link will be in the top of the description. You can watch that one first if you'd like. They both got a lot of crazy abilities going on. It's going to also boost a lot of the other mutants in the game. It's pretty crazy. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and jump in. So Professor X will be entering the game first for September. He'll be coming out on September 10th, 10 a.m. PST. So as far as his prestige goes, as a 5-star, 10,640. It's pretty good. As a 6-star, 13,690. Pretty good. He's a mutant, of course. Base abilities: Cerebro charges, Mind Control, Falter, Prowess, and Vigilance. Strengths: prevents miss and evade. Once Professor X has gained enough channeling charges, he can bypass miss and evade effects very reliably. So he's going to be a pretty solid miss and evade counter, which is great, man. It's always good to have more of these in the game. And they're like, it's very easy to get them and to hold on to them once you have them. I think. I haven't played them yet, but from the way it sounds, one special one and you'll be good to go to bypass, miss, and evade. Controller: with the combined use of his Falter, Unblockable, and Mind Control abilities, opponent will be playing to Professor X's terms in each fight. Mutant Super Support: makes the most of Professor X by pairing him with other mutants and X-Men. As Professor X wins fights, he gains Cerebro charges, which boosts his synergy effects, benefiting his team, which is pretty crazy. And there's some really, really good synergies, which we'll talk about. His weaknesses, though: low health. Professor X has a very small health pool, which makes chip damage and especially damage over time effects very potent against him. Tech champions: he loses his ability to counter miss and evade effects versus tech champs and cannot use many special attacks. And power control: he needs to be using his power to deal the majority of his damage. Now, Professor X has no immunities except to reverse controls, so he's not going to be very good with the suicide mastery. He seems very suicide unfriendly. He's immune to reverse controls due to his mastery over his telepathy, but that's the only immunities that he has. He also has Professor X's first medium attack is the only basic attack that makes contact with his opponent. All Professor X's attacks deal energy damage. So, Falter. This is a pretty cool Falter type ability. So, when Professor X would be struck by a basic attack, he inflicts a Falter passive, causing 100% of the opponent's attacks to miss for 2 seconds, which, like, in a fight, is a really long time. This ability has a 20-second cooldown, but starts on a 10-second cooldown. So, you're not going to be able to use this as, like, Ghost, or you start the fight, and then you Falter or phase, and then basically attack the opponent because of this 10-second. I think that was the reason why they put that in there, so you can't just do it like how you do with Ghost or Invisible Woman at the start of fights. But this is sick, man. This is really, really good because, like, as soon as 10 seconds pass in the fight, this is a huge safety net. You know, if you slip up or something and you were going to go to get hit by a basic attack, so mediums, lights, or heavies, they're going to falter and then miss, which is really good. It wouldn't work against special attacks, I don't think. But, yeah, when they put a land special attack, Falter is removed. So you gotta be careful against specials. And then avoiding an attack while dodging backwards during Falter's cooldown reduces the duration by 1 second. So just dexing attacks will get this back quicker for you. So that's just a really cool ability to have, like just a safety net. I love champs that have safety nets like that. That's awesome. This ability allows Professor X to safely channel without being attacked. It's up to the player to maximize Professor X's Falter ability. The more attacks he dodges, the more he can use it. So yeah, there's also a thing called channeling with Professor X, where, you know, normally if you were doing this, it would leave you vulnerable, but this Falter ability can definitely save you in situations like that, so that's cool. Now, his persistent charges. So max 4, start each quest with 1, and gain 1 Cerebro charge when Professor X wins a fight. And Cerebro charges increases the potency of Professor X's synergies. And I think one of the Magnetos had a synergy with Professor X to gain an additional persistent charge, I think. So that could be useful as well. And developer note here, one of Professor X's greatest features in his toolbox of useful synergies. Unlike most, Professor X can increase the potency of his synergies by winning fights, and he has some really insane synergies, which we'll get to at the end. This man is like the new Heimdall for mutants, man. It's crazy. So, channeling. Professor X channels his telepathic abilities, gaining 10 channeling charges per second at the end of his special attack 1 and 2 attacks, and while charging his heavy attack. And remember, when you're charging, you're channeling this or whatever, if you have that falter, you know, you can just charge until the opponent dashes at you, and then boom, they miss, they falter, whatever, and then you can safely get back to the fight. And when power burn or drain, lose 50 channeling charges, so you definitely don't want to be power burned or drained. While at 25 plus channeling charges against non-tech champions, Professor X cannot be evaded and gains a vigilance passive, allowing all attacks to bypass miss. So that's really great, man. And you get 25 of these just from launching special attack 1. And again, you get 10 channeling charges per second while at the end of your special attacks or while charging a heavy attack. And with that falter safety net, you know, you can charge a heavy attack for like 3 seconds fairly easily, and then boom, you bypass evade and miss. You're good to go. And then again, you can quickly get that falter back by dodging attacks, make it quicker. So while at 50 channeling charges, using the 4th light attack inflicts mind control on the opponent when activating a special attack with 100 channeling charges, automatically inflict mind control. And now mind control is crazy. So what mind control does is it lasts for 0.5 seconds for every 10 channeling charges. The opponent is locked from gaining power or using any of their special attacks. So this is the first mechanic like this in the game that locks power. So the way I'm visualizing this is like, think of like Terrax, right? When you're fighting against him and you're giving him bars of power, but they're like white bars of power, right? Like he can't use them. I feel like that's what this mind control will kind of look like. The opponent might have 3 bars of power or like 2.5 bars of power, but they're locked and they can't activate the special attack. Like that's crazy, man. That is really crazy. You could just like backdraft intercept them all day because they can't throw that special attack, which is pretty crazy, man. Mind control's duration is paused during Professor X's special attacks, except while channeling, and Professor X special attacks are unblockable. That's great. And cost up to 70% less power based on the number of channeling charges, reduced to 40% against techs. And with this 70% reduction, you can get some really crazy special attack cycling going, and you can also get a bunch of prowess with this dude, so you can get some pretty crazy stuff. But now channeling. So channeling is kind of weird. So channeling is a mechanic that's new to Professor X in game. Watch for pink and purple waves emanating from Professor X, indicating that he is channeling. When Professor X is defending, this is a great window to punish him. So channeling, completing and canceling. Complete channel or cancel by heavy attacking, gain 10 channeling charges. Cancel by blocking, charging a heavy attack, or using a light, medium, or special attack. Gain a prowess buff, increasing special attack damage by 40% for 36 seconds. And apparently, you can keep on stacking these prowess buffs. That's a lot of special attack damage. So this sounds pretty nutty, man, to get a bunch of these prowess going. There's also another way to get prowess as well. That one does have a cap. But yeah, you can get a lot of prowess going. And then again, you can have reduced special attack costs. So you can just launch more special attacks. Sounds pretty crazy. And then cancel by dashing backwards, refresh the duration of all prowess effects on Professor X. That sounds pretty good too. So players are able to cancel out of channeling during the special attack 1 and 2 attacks by inputting an action. The way you cancel your channel will decide what effects are activated. There's quite a lot of potential for some interesting plays with this ability, so we're excited to see what you guys come up with. Sounds pretty crazy. It's kind of one of those things where it's kind of hard to visualize just by reading it. It'll be much easier to see and get an idea of when you play it or see someone playing it once we get gameplay. But yeah, so Professor X is the first champion in the game that's able to lock his opponent out of their special attacks. Mind control is Professor X's big moment to use as many special attacks as he can while the opponent is almost completely subdued. Sounds pretty crazy. So special attack 1, Psychic Grasp. On activation, gain 25 of those channeling charges. So boom, that's one quick way to get them. During mind control, players will find they're able to perform several special ones in quick succession with enough power. Special 2 is Psy Blades. The last 3 hits deal a burst of 2100 energy damage. This ability scales with special attack damage. So a developer note here, this is Professor X's largest damage spike. Keep in mind that this Professor X's prowess buffs will increase the bursts of energy damage from this attack. And you can get a lot of prowess going, so this could get pretty good. And then special attack 3, Duel of the Mind. Gain a prowess buff for each Cerebro charge, increasing special attack damage by 60% and lasting 40 seconds, max 4 stacks. So you can get some extremely fat prowess stacks from the special 3, and for the more Cerebro charges that you have. And remember, so you gain those Cerebro charges. You start with 1, so you get 1 prowess in the first fight. And then when you win a fight, you get another 1. And again, I think there's a synergy with one of the, I think it might have been White Magneto, to get more Cerebro charges for winning. But yeah, so that's his special 3. So developer note, as Professor X wins more fights, he'll gain more Cerebro charges, greatly increasing the benefit of his special 3 in mind control. Keep in mind that due to the reduced cost of special attacks, Professor X can use his special attack 2 immediately after this attack. So you can use a special attack 3, stack up those prowess effects, and then boom, because of the special attack reduced cost, boom, you launch that special 2, and you're getting the energy damage is doing even more damage with the prowess effects, and who knows, it might hit hard, just base damage, I don't know. But now we get to the signature ability and then the synergy. So well below 75 channeling charges, gain 1 charge per second, which is just nice to get some more. While defending, this rate is doubled and charges are gained for the entire fight, and gain up to 50% prowess potency, scaling with the opponent's power meter. So if you can like power lock them with that mind control at like 2.5 bars of power, you can get like 45% more prowess or something like that potency, which would be pretty good. With his signature ability unlocked, Professor X is encouraged to inflict mind control when the opponent has as much power as possible, increasing the potency of all prowess buffs gained during mind control. You probably don't want to give them like 3 bars though, just in case you don't finish the fight and that falls off, just to be safe. But yeah, let's talk about these synergies, man, because they are crazy. So the first one is called Birthright, and it's with Professor X, so he's just going to have this on his own. Just bringing him on the team will give you this. 25% special attack damage for each Cerebro charge, max 100%. Dude, that's crazy. That in and of itself can double any mutant's special attack damage, except for Professor X, based on the Cerebro charges again. Dude, that's pretty good, right? And that's just bringing him on the team, right? So developer note, all Professor X's synergies provide a bonus to Mutant and X-Men on his team, excluding himself. Each of these effects scales with his Cerebro charges, making him an even better support for every fight he wins. So Drug Eye with Wolverine, X-23, and Colossus. All mutants and X-Men, except for Professor X, gain plus 18% poison resistance for each Cerebro charge, max 72%. So that's all mutants and X-Men. That's not just Wolverine and Colossus. That's every mutant in the game except for Professor X. So you can get up to 72% poison resistance. Dude, that's going to make so many mutants just more suicide friendly. That's crazy. That is crazy. And there's something that you can pair up with Apocalypse that makes them even more suicide friendly. And there's something for even Recoil too. These synergies are insane. So Wolverine X-23 gain critical rating, which is pretty good, 15%. That's pretty good. And Colossus start the fight with 1 indefinite armor up buff, granting 15% armor rating. That's pretty good for Colossus, starting with a permanent one. Now Habitat with Storm and Storm Pyramid X and Emma Frost. So this isn't just the first one's for all mutants. Gain 15% prowess effect duration for each Cerebro charge, max 60%. The Storms gain 20% shock potency. Emma gains up to 35% increased critical rating, scaling with Emma's power meter. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Just more crit rate for Emma. That's pretty nice. I wish I had an Emma Frost. Now we got Drug L. So this is the nutty one. This is the Heimdall level one. This is better than Heimdall for mutants. So with Cyclops, New Xavier School, so the red one and the blue one, and then with Phoenix as well. So all mutants and X-Men, except for Professor X, once per fight when a champion would be knocked out, immediately regenerate 7.5% of their max health for each Cerebro charge, max 30%. So this is like a Heimdall synergy when you would be knocked out, boom, instantly regenerate 7.5% health. And if you're max on Cerebro charges, 30% health. Dude, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. Now the Cyclops beam hits gain 100% critical damage rating and inflict an armor break, reducing armor rating by 20% for 5 seconds. I'm not excited about Cyclops, so I don't know. Hopefully he gets a buff, and that's actually good. But this one with Phoenix actually sounds pretty good. This gets me excited because I have a 6-star rank 1 Phoenix at like sig 80 or something. So when overloaded, Phoenix gains an indefinite Fury passive, increasing her attack rating by 60%. And you can get 5 of these. Dude, that sounds like some pretty good attack rating for Fury. It's permanent Fury passive. That sounds pretty good for Phoenix. I don't know. I'm going to give that a try on the beta for sure. Once the beta comes for this. I'm excited to see that, man. Might actually rank 3 my Phoenix if this is actually that as good as I'm thinking it might be. That sounds dope. Alright, so let's keep going. Next up, we got Gateway with Nightcrawler, Archangel, and Beast. So all mutants and X-Men except Professor X gain 6% of a bar of power every 10 seconds for each Cerebro charge, max 24%. That sounds really good. If that, and it doesn't sound like that ends. You just have a permanent passive Fury gain every 10 seconds, gain some power. It doesn't sound like that much power. That's max 24% of a bar of power, so about a quarter of a bar. So that's not that much power, but that's not bad. That's not bad. That does add up. And so Nightcrawler and Archangel gain bleed potency. That's pretty good for Nightcrawler, his instant bleeds, but with Archangel, bleeds aren't really doing the main damage for him. It's the neuros. And then Beast, increase the duration of freestyle and acrobatic combo success by 5 seconds. I'm not a Beast master, so I don't know how good that is. And then we have Drug M. This one, for suicides, could count forwards towards recoil. I'm fumbling my words. So with Magneto, White Magneto, and Iceman, so all mutants and X-Men except for Professor X gain a mental barrier with 2.5% of current health for each Cerebro charge, max 10% health. Whenever the champion would take damage, except from special 3 attacks, the barrier takes 75% of the damage until it reaches 0. So what I'm thinking, if you have max Cerebro charges, you go into a fight with, let's say, Magneto, you have 100% of your health, you're going to have a mental barrier of 10% health. And so when you would use a special attack and you would take recoil damage, 75% of that damage you would take is instead taken by this mental barrier. A way to think about it is like a little invisible woman shield on all these champions. So that's pretty cool. It could get around some recoil damage, but the cool thing is it's like any damage except for special 3s. So damage over times, getting hit, So that sounds pretty cool. And then Iceman, when ice armor shatters, all frostbite effects expire instantly. That doesn't sound good. What if you don't even have any frostbite effects? But these next ones are pretty good. For White Magneto, guidance bonus attack rate is increased by a flat 5% or 15% on the final node of a quest. That is huge, man. That is huge. So that would be 30% attack rating, right? Because this is normally 15. If it's on the final boss in war, it would be a 30% attack rating. Dude, that would be pretty solid. Or just 5%, so it'd be go to 20%. It's like a 20%. That's like a max attack boost. So yeah, that's cool. It's more attack rating for that guidance thing, and that can be used by any champion. This attack rating can be used by any champion. And then Magneto Classic, 15% attack rating while fighting male champs. Sure, more attack rating for Magneto, dude. Oh my god, imagine you're fighting like a Doom boss with Magneto, and you apply the other Magneto's pre-fight, and you have the synergy. So that would be 45% extra attack because he Doom's metal. Dude, okay, that sounds crazy. And there's also more stuff with Apocalypse that boosts mutants even more. This all sounds so crazy, dude. The mutant class. Oh my god, the amount of stuff you'd be able to do. So recommended mastery, dexterity, just for dodging attacks. Why not get a precision buff out of it? Sure. Stupefy, extending the duration of parry stuns, allow Professor X to heavy charge for longer. Sure. And then block proficiency. Professor X does not have a lot of health to work with. Increasing his block proficiency makes taking chip damage less impactful. These are 3 masteries that you should always have. This one should always be maxed. This one should always be maxed, and you should always have a point in dexterity. So yeah. But these synergies, man. Professor X sounds pretty cool on his own with the prowess and everything and the mind control, and yeah, he sounds pretty cool. Definitely not suicide friendly. But those synergies, man, those synergies are pretty insane. So I'm pretty excited, Professor X. He sounds like he can do some cool stuff. And I love the synergies. The synergies are crazy. But yeah, he sounds pretty cool. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think, Professor X. And yeah, now, and the thing is, like with Apocalypse 2, it's going to be, yeah, you guys got to see the Apocalypse video if you haven't seen it yet. Because Apocalypse can make any mutant into a horseman, which is insane. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Watch the Apocalypse one if you haven't yet, and just start thinking of some crazy combinations. And let me know in the comments. Let me know some crazy combinations you think of. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.